just a demonstration on how good of a crawler this Defender actually is. And after all the upgrades I've actually made to it, it's now turning out to be quite the machine that I wanted it to be, above and beyond all my expectations. I wanted something that performs scale, that can do things that only the real one can do, so nothing more and nothing less than what the real one can do. And it's definitely demonstrating that right now. I'm using the Genzace 2200 milliamp 2S LiPo, 45C discharge, and they're doing, and I've dialed my AX550 Bluetooth app. I've dialed the settings right down, so forward speed is only at 50% and reverse speed is only at 40%, so it gives me scale dynamics, so scale driving dynamics. What I mean by that is it gives me scale power and it gives me scale drivability. So the real Defender, unless it's been modified, is powered by either a 2-litre, I think, 2-litre four-cylinder, or a 2.2 four-cylinder engine from the Transit van, if you're looking at the new ones. So they're not a V8 or anything like that, although you can of course modify real ones with V8s. But with the power setting I've got on the AX system at the moment, it's scale. There you go, that's what you call articulation there. The rear right tyre is, just got to get a good shot of this. Doesn't get any better than that. For me, when I envisioned the hobby crawling, this is what I envisioned it to be. There are those that envision crawling to be crawling on rocks that, you know, only RC vehicles can do. My vision of crawling is something that real vehicles can do. Like if you were to own a real Defender, this real Defender in real life, in reality, that it could do everything that this RC car is doing at the moment. And that was my vision of a nice RC crawler. Although people out there that buy these vehicles, obviously some of them are abused, some of them are bashed, some of them are used in ways that they were never intended to be used. But when I purchased this car and spent upwards of almost 5,000 Australian dollars on it, or about 4,000 US dollars, not to brag about what I've spent, but being foolish enough to spend that much money in the first place, yes, I do in some ways call myself a fool for doing that, because a lot of the things that my rig can do now, a standard rig can do. You don't need to upgrade your rig to what I've done with mine just to get it to perform the way mine is. But I upgraded mine for the sake of upgrading it for my YouTube channel to give you guys content. So for that, I'm not apologetic for it. I love the upgrades. The shock absorbers are working to my loving at the moment, to my liking. They're now performing the way I wanted them to. So they were the one thing that I just couldn't tune for the life of me. I couldn't tune right up until now. So I've changed the shocks twice. The first shocks were, of course, the Traxxas shocks, GTS I think, which I never gave a chance. I should have, but I never did give them a good chance. Then I went straight to the RC four-wheel drive 90mm King shocks, which was a big regret because I never got them to perform the way I wanted them to. And now I'm onto the Pro Line series Pro Scaler big ball shocks using 100 weight oil all round. Because of the weight of my rig, it needed very good thick oil. And as you guys can see, the articulation is perfect. I'm getting good solid articulation throughout the shocks, and I'm also getting good solid performance, good rebound. Now, shock absorbers, for those that are confused at how they're supposed to work, they're not supposed to bounce. They are supposed to absorb the shock. They're there, if set up in the correct way, they are meant to absorb the impact. They're not meant to bounce. They're not meant to get you to bounce like a ball. It's meant to absorb the impact. Okay, and this is what my shocks are doing at the moment, and that's why, as I said, I'm loving the way they're performing, because they are just they're just right. I've got them to a point now where they're performing to the way I envisioned them to perform. There we go. That just needed a little bit of momentum there. So hopefully that's giving you some insight on the performance figures of this car at the moment. As I said, I don't use this as a basher, even though it's got the power with 3S to be like a supersonic car. That's not what I intend it to be. I bought the Axe 550 3300 kV motor to give me good ample power when I want it, but a lot of the times you never use its full potential. I only set it to 50% forward speed at maximum on the Hobbywing Bluetooth app, and I only ever set it to 45% reverse. I do use 7.4 function for all my servos, because I changed the servos to TR4 Power HD servos for the transmission, 2-speed transmission, and also the diff locks, so I can go 7.4 for all the servos. And then the Power HD steering servo, which is the LW25MG waterproof. And they're good servos. They're not the best. They are, well, the steering servo is pretty slow, but it does its job. And unless I have to spend more money and upgrade them to get a better performance, which I don't think I will. I mean, yes, you can spend $300 upwards for a Savox or an MKS, but at the moment I don't see a need to do that. And until then, I'll stay with the Power HD. Just a disclaimer though, the Power HD servo I'm using has broken down once, so this is my second servo now. I decided to give them a second chance. Everything deserves a second chance, and this company did, because of the quality of their servos, the way they built it. I was happy with it. So what happened was, one day I was just crawling. In fact, it wasn't even doing much work. After an hour of using the rig, the servo just burnt out. Now I put that down maybe to overusage, or so there must have been something I did wrong that day. But I bought another Power HD LW25MG, so this is the second one. If it happens again, well, you guys will hear about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, guys. Until the next episode, hopefully you've enjoyed a little bit of climbing. Shout out to those who gave me advice on taking the spare tyre off and also the roof rack off. I did, as I said, know of the better performance without them to begin with, but just to give you guys an insight on those that didn't know, that it does perform a lot better without the roof rack on the top and without the spare tyre, as they do add 300 grams of weight with them on, and they do subtract 300 grams of weight with them off. The tyre itself and the wheel, being metal, weighs 200 grams, and the roof rack weighs 100. So hopefully that gives you some insight. As I said, a lot of front weight is good. Low down front weight is a lot better. If you watch my past videos, you know, I've put lead fishing weights on the front bumper, and I've also used a little bit of weights for the front, under the bonnet, under the hood. And now that I've taken off that spare tire and the roof rack, it seems to be performing a lot better. Thanks for joining me, guys, and until the next video, peace out.